Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Eric Cave. I'm the director of Next Gen Ministries for the Pacific Northwest Conference. And today I'm delighted to introduce you to my friend, Bruce Bruns. He is the new lead pastor at Milwaukie Covenant Church. So Bruce, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Please take a moment to tell us a little bit about yourself and your ministry background.
Sure. So I grew up just south of Seattle, Auburn, Washington. I grew up going to Kent Covenant Church. My parents started there in 1963. And it was my only church home growing up. I was actually working at Cascades Camp. And my first year there, I was the maintenance assistant, which is funny because I mowed the lawn and moved the sprinklers. And that was really all that I did. But I knew Tom Moline, the director there, really well because they had gone to Kent Covenant Church when I was growing up. And Tom and I were out one day working on a project, and he looked at me and he said, Yaz, my camp name was Yazoo. It's a long story. He goes, have you ever thought about doing ministry? And Tom looked at me and he said, because I really can't see you doing anything else. But that kind of started a process of just talking to people and praying about it. And I went to North Park for 2 years. From there, that's where I met my wife. After that year at Mercer Island, we went back to North Park for seminary. Finished 2 years of seminary and went to Simi Covenant Church in Simi Valley, California, down near Los Angeles. Stayed at Simi Covenant until 2010, finished up our time there and headed out to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, which is right in between Chicago and Milwaukee, to Anchor Covenant Church there, and was there from 2010 until 2020. Moved out to right up on the border with Canada and Washington, place called Blaine, lived there for a year and a half, almost 2 years. I spent a little over a year as the transitional pastor at Clear Lake Covenant Church near Mount Vernon. And from there was called to Milwaukie Covenant Church last summer and started officially the first week of September, I think. Got back home.
You've been around the block a few times.
Once or twice.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you back. So tell us, what are you passionate about in ministry? It's
been a real desire to work to create just life-giving community for the people who are part of the church that I'm serving.
What are some other ways that we can be praying for you?
You know, it's been a big transition for all of us. So my two older boys, one's 28, one's 25, but Dakota is 16. He's got some significant special needs, and the last 2.5 years have been a lot of transition and change and new places for him, and so it's really just starting to get him settled.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I'll be praying for you. I hope our viewers will make a point to pray for you as well.
Thank you.
Well, as is our tradition, when we do these introductions, I like to do some random questions to get to know you a little bit better. So you picked 5 of them. I'll just read them off quickly and you give a sentence or two answer to wrap up. So these are things that we all need to know about you that we didn't know that we need to know about you for this. So the first question is, what 3 traits define you?
Loyal, I think compassionate, just, entering into whether it's friendships or congregants, and just entering into those lives and being part of them, and carrying burdens and sharing joys and sharing sorrows is something. Enjoy is the wrong word, but something that I find a lot of meaning in. And then curious. Drives my wife crazy that I'll just run, something strikes my interest and I'll run down a rabbit hole for maybe 10 minutes looking at Google, maybe 2 weeks entering into something, maybe it becomes a, long-term hobby, interest, whatever.
All right, next question. What is your favorite thing to do?
I really like to cook. I am, my older boys being gone, and it's just, me and Alyssa and Dakota. So I don't get to be the breakfast king as much as I used to be, but that was kind of my gig. But Alyssa and I, we really like cooking for people. We like having people over. She and I like, spending a couple hours in the kitchen cooking and preparing and getting things ready, and just inviting people into our home and serving them, and allowing people to come in and just relax and not have to do anything, and we've taken care of it all, is something that we really enjoy doing together.
That's great. Okay, next question is, where is the best place you've traveled to?
In 2017, my middle son Jack was graduating high school. My oldest son Sam was graduating college. So we decided we were going to do a big trip, and we did almost 2 weeks in Denmark. We spent a week in Copenhagen. We spent a week up north on the coast in a place called Helsingør, and we absolutely loved it. The city, I mean, Copenhagen was one of those places where, if we wanted to be busy dawn to dusk, we could be. And if we wanted to just wander around and, buy a Danish in Denmark and sit with a cup of coffee and watch the water, we could do that too. And then that week up in up north was really relaxing. We were in a great spot right on the water. We were a 10-minute ferry ride from Sweden. It was, I think that's just about the best trip we've had.
Well, what's the weirdest job you've ever had?
I bartended my way through seminary. I started out as a server at this little family Italian restaurant, and they offered to let me start bartending on Thursday nights and Wednesday nights. And truth of the matter is on Thursday nights and Wednesday nights, it was a whole lot easier, and you made a lot more money tending bar than waiting tables on Wednesdays and Thursdays when crowds are kind of light.
Okay, last question. Tell us something that might surprise us about you.
So in Lake Geneva, I started taking guitar lessons. Been playing since high school, but I started taking guitar lessons at a local music school, and ran into several other people, a bass player, singer, drummer, and another guitar player, and we formed a incredibly mediocre bar band. I mean, mostly we just played together for ourselves. It was just fun. And then a couple, maybe 1-2 gigs a year, a friend of a friend needed someone to come in and play for a half an hour. But that school was doing a fundraiser, and they were doing this huge vendor fair and food carts and local artists and things like that. And they brought Kansas in to play, and we got asked to play 4 songs before Kansas. Wow. So a mediocre bar band got to open up for Kansas. It was quite the experience.
Good. Well, Bruce, thanks for sharing about yourself with us today. Really glad to have you in the conference. Welcome.
Thank you.
And thanks for the time to be with us for this interview.
Thank you.